Welcome back to the Free Agents podcast. As always, it's Baz here. In front of me, I've got Rig, formerly as known in 2012 as Rig Sanity.
How are we, guys?
And once again, in the mixer, I've got Chocolate City.
What's up?
Today, we're going to talk about the NBA awards, predictions of the playoffs, and who's got the most pressure to perform in the playoffs. Before we get into that, I'm going to have some breaking news with Choc. You've got 24 seconds. Let's go.
All right, cool. So big news. Zion's returning to the bubble. We'll play the season opener against the Jazz. Lou Williams has left after Beverly left this week as well. Big news for the Clips. Scrimmage started this week. Big notes out of there. Seth Curry put up 23 points with 6 3-pointers. Bobo showed out with 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 6 blocks. And lastly, for OKC fans, Westbrook returned after testing positive to COVID-19, and Robertson came back after rupturing his patella. So good news for OKC.
Nice, thank you. So before we get stuck into the topics today, I want to quickly recap on the scrimmage. So as you may all know, Bobo made his NBA debut. You know, he put on quite a show.
Yeah, I think Bol played really well. I mean, the Nuggets ran Jokic at point guard.
Yeah.
I think the average starting lineup was something like 6'9" or something ridiculous. He played well. I think Bol has a place in the NBA as a bit of a defensive stopper, but he's also got that range to step out.
Like a stretch four.
He's like a stretch four, but at 7'2" or something ridiculous.
His reach is huge.
He's definitely got the talent. His biggest issue has always been, as you saw when he played for Oregon, is injuries.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he only put up 9 games for Oregon.
That's it. Can he stay healthy? I definitely think it was a steal in last year's draft when they picked him up. It's just a matter of can he consistently perform at that level. But it's good to see. As I said, he had a few months off. He's obviously healthy. And I think the Nuggets, alongside Porter Jr., have a good young core around what is an established veteran lineup.
That's right. And, you know, people forget that Bobo was actually the 4th most recruited player coming out of high school. You know, he was behind RJ Barrett, Zion, and then Cam Reddish. So there's obviously a lot of potential there and people have high hopes for him. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens in the bubble going forward, if he plays a lot of minutes in the playoffs or is just going to get some time in the scrimmages. And, you know, and then next season there'll be some roster changes as well with some free agents.
Do you think he can? Do you think he can keep that form up coming out of the scrimmages, moving into the regular season?
I don't see why not. I don't think you'll see the same minutes that he got in the scrimmages, obviously. No. But I definitely think he has the ability to be that sort of like big man 3-and-D. If Jokic gets into foul trouble, you can bring him in. He's not afraid to shoot the ball. He can definitely score. His weakness is his back to the basket. As a traditional center, he would struggle in that sort of thing. But he can stretch the floor. He can shoot the three. He's certainly going to run the rim, and he's a defensive stopper. He can block the ball from anywhere, as we saw in the quick scrimmage. So I definitely think he's going to get minutes. Just don't expect him to get the same minutes as he's going to get in this scrimmage.
Yeah, that's right. And then, you know, as Choc touched on as well in the news, Zion returned, as we discussed last week. You know, we were quite uncertain if he was going to return at all. You know, as many of you may be aware, he had, you know, family issues or family emergency matters to attend to. You know, so. And from what we can see here and understand is he actually he had the COVID test every single day, tested negative, so which means that he can now play, you know, once he completes a 4-day quarantine.
Yeah, it's good for the Pelicans. I think obviously without Zion, I was hesitant to see if they'd actually go anywhere.
Yeah. But
now that he's back, obviously whatever he needed to deal with is now sorted and he seems ready to go. I don't think it'll have any impact on the Pelicans at all. I think they won't miss a beat, to be fair.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
They put out a good showing on the scrimmage game.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited to see whether JJ Redick gets his 21st season in the playoffs. The man hasn't missed the finals or the playoffs. Sorry, I should say the playoffs since his freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and he's put a lot of pressure on Zion from the start of the season. So it'd be interesting to see what happens there. You know, so what we're going to get stuck into the NBA awards now. We're going to start off with the Coach of the Year. You know, Rig, who's your pick or who's your favourite or who do you think should be nominated to get this award?
Yeah, I know the big conversation around most NBA fans is going to be Nick Nurse after last year's performance with the Toronto Raptors and then losing Kawhi. It seems like they haven't missed a beat. They're sitting second in the East at the moment, but I'm leaning towards Frank Vogel. I know, yes, people are going to sit there and go, yeah, he's got AD and he's got King James, but I'm sitting there going, they went from out of the playoffs, struggling to be one unit, one team, to one of the best defensive teams in the league, and obviously leading the West. I think you can't overlook something like that.
Yeah. How much do you think of an impact he has on that team when you know you've got LeBron James and Anthony Davis? Do you think it makes a difference for having a coach like that? Or
for me, it's the fact that he brings the chemistry together and he brings them together, and you haven't heard any rumors about infighting or anything like that. Under Luke Walton, there was this tension and this underlying issues that they weren't happy with him. The players weren't happy with each other. Vogel's come in, and it just seems like they're one unit. They've been doing a lot during the COVID period to try and get together, both meetings and in person where they can. And I just feel like that wouldn't have happened under Walton. Yes, you've got experienced veterans on the team, but we haven't heard anything about Dwight Howard issues. We haven't had any bust-ups with King James. I just really think he's gelled a lot of personalities together in one place while being able to perform on the court. And I think that's something pretty impressive and special with the amount of NBA quality he has in that team.
Yeah, I think, he's done a great job coming first in the West when the Lakers were struggled last season. They had a bit of personnel change, but they've definitely, I think, stamped their mark on potentially the team to beat, especially in the West. Yeah. Maybe in the finals, we'll see how the season unfolds.
But I know you have a certain special someone that you're thinking of in your mind.
Yeah, that's it. I was actually going to say Billy Donovan. As everyone who knows me, I used to go in on Billy Donovan. I wanted him out, wanted him gone.
Yeah, you definitely said that many times. You're like, can we just get rid of this bloke?
But people agreed.
Yeah,
no one was like, no, you're wrong.
Until this season, I should have thought he would have already been fired by now. To be fair,
I thought he was going to go last season.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't expect him to be staying on this season, and I didn't expect to see what he's actually done, the turnaround.
Yeah, I mean, I think when he had big personalities last season, it kind of struggled, and he tried to cater to their needs. With Russell Westbrook and Paul George, and I think it held back his coaching ability because in the NBA you get the people that can coach and enjoy coaching, and then you get the people that just let the star players do what they want to do.
And I think he's got players that want to buy in for
that's right.
First time in the last few years. He's had major personalities to compete with in Russell Westbrook and Paul George. And now they're gone. He just has players who want to play and who want to win.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think that's a big help to what he's trying to build there. But I think you're right. I think for me personally, he's not far behind, obviously, because OKC have outperformed where no one expected them to be in the playoffs, let alone I think they're sitting in the 5th seed at the moment. So I definitely think he's in the conversation. I just think somewhere like OKC, they just don't get enough recognition. I think that's what's probably going to let him down.
Yeah, I think, because once they made the trade for Westbrook and Paul George, everyone was like, they're going to get
lottery.
top 5 pick.
Yeah, everyone was 100%
top 5 pick. Yeah.
I thought they were going to get trashed.
That's it.
And I think that plays a part. Maybe if that team and Billy Donovan, they were like an LA team based, it might have a bigger impact on him getting that award. I think if because they're in a small market team, it kind of gets overlooked a little bit.
Yeah.
But I personally think it's going to be between Nick Nurse and Frank Vogel as well.
Yeah, that's it. And I think one thing I do want to mention in the Coach of the Year awards is Mike Budenholzer has just been completely overlooked. And then, first in the East, Giannis is playing out of his skin, but no one's mentioning Mike Budenholzer in Coach of the Year talks. I don't know if it's a snub. I think he's a good coach, but I just feel like he hasn't done enough in the last few years to stand out compared to coaches like Nick Nurse, Billy Donovan, Frank Vogel. But yeah, he's just interestingly flying under the radar for a team who's first in the East.
That's right. And look, now we're going to talk about the most improved awards. Quickly, my pick. It's not really my pick, but an honorable mention is I'm going to say Luka Doncic. I know
I don't agree.
But could you imagine Rookie of the Year, then Most Improved Player of the Year, and then next year Most Valuable Player?
Yeah, I have no doubt he's going to be the most valuable player. You cannot give, in my opinion, the Most Improved Player to an already established star or stud. It has to be a guy who's just starting for the first year, who's making a lot more of an impact on the court. Luka made an impact from day one. He's not most improved because I feel like he's went from star to established star. So it's hard to give him the award there.
Well, so far, after 54 games, he's put up 1,549 points. After 72 games last year, he put up 1,526. So he's already beat his scoring total. He's putting up big numbers this year, so there's potential.
Yeah, that's right. And, in his rookie season, he averaged 22 points per game. And the Mavs got 33 wins. And then now, at this moment in time, he's averaging 29 points. And they're on 46 wins, and they potentially might get...
I just
50 wins. I know where you're coming from.
Yeah, I see him closer to sitting in the MVP category than sitting in the most improved player. I can't sit there and see an established stud as being most improved. It needs to be that up and coming guy that guy that you didn't know last year, that you didn't even think of, who's just blown your expectations out of the water.
So, Rick, who's your thought for most improved then?
I'm 100% on Shea Gilgeous out of OKC. I just think that the guy is extremely...
Cue Baz smile when he hears Shea Gilgeous.
Well, I just think that he's made the biggest leap. From when he got traded from the Clippers, he had 11 points per game in his rookie season, so now he's averaging 19 points per game in OKC, while he's playing alongside, as you always talk about, the three-headed monster, CP3, Dennis Schroeder, and himself. So he's sharing minutes at that guard position, but he's still getting it done. He hasn't seen a major jump in his rebounds or points, or assists, I should say, per game, but it's just that jump in scoring. His electricity. He's just trying to dunk it on everybody. He's just got that little spark that gives OKC that sort of like that speed on the fast break. I think he's made a huge impact on them being where they are.
Yeah, he's definitely got a big role. You know, he's going to be probably the focal point of that team for many, many years, and he's going to get a big contract. I'm surprised you didn't say Brandon Ingram, because a lot of analysts and the media have him as taking this award hands down, not even close.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I definitely think Brandon Ingram's taken a huge leap, but for me, most improved, like he was picked second overall. This is where I expect him to be. And I think that's probably, for me, where it sort of shades the idea that he's most improved. I'm like, I expected you always to be this good. You were picked number 2 overall.
But do you judge him based off his pick, or do you judge him based off how he played last year?
I think you always need to judge the guy of where he's picked. No one sits there and doesn't go, oh, where was he picked in the draft? If you're picked top 3, the expectation is you are taking this sort of leap.
You're in the league for a long time.
100%. And I feel like, yes, okay, he's played very well this season at the Pelicans. But I'm also like, had Zion played the whole season, would be getting anywhere near as many touches. Also, they haven't won as many games as OKC has.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, at the start of the season, Brandon Ingram in the first few games, he went off for 22 points, 25, 35, 27. Then had a poor showing of 7, but then he went to 40 points. So a lot of people have him locked for the award. But the thing I struggle with Brandon Ingram taking the award out, the Pelicans haven't improved compared to last season. Like the team record is virtually identical to what it was,
and that's
the roster's better.
And that's it. The roster's better. I think they've got stability for the first time. He's playing well individually, and I suppose that comes down to is how much do you value the individuality and the stats compared to his impact on the team. So for me, most of these awards, although individual, come from what's the impact to the team overall, and that's why I think Shea Gilgeous is my most improved, because of the way he's actually taken OKC from where they were, or where everyone thought they would be, to jumping to the middle seeds of the West.
Yeah.
And that's hard competition, day in, day out, playing against the West.
Yeah, the West is a very tough division. Very, very tough division.
Yeah, that's right. I think, because I know it doesn't play into it, but I kind of feel that a team record, should play a part in the most improved award, as it does with the MVP award.
Yeah, correct. I definitely think it should. I don't see how you can separate it as, oh, well, he's just scored more points than he did last year.
Yeah, because Devontae Graham, as an example, he's gone from like 3 points to 19, 18.
That's a garbage team in the Hornets. The man's getting 36 minutes a game or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, of course you're going to get more points when you're going to get more playing time, because all you got is garbage time.
Yeah, like exactly right. I feel like it should play a role in team wins.
I think it definitely needs to be said that Brandon Ingram has taken a major maturity step in the way he plays.
No doubt about
and
that.
I think he's taken what I expected of him and finally putting it to practice since leaving the Lakers. But I'm not going to say he is most improved, because I expect him to be there.
Do you think he's taken more of a leadership role at the Pelicans?
I mean, he's definitely taken the leadership role in the scoring. Like, he wants the ball,
He has to.
and he wants to let it fly.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Brandon Ingram averaging 23, 24 points, and then the next closest is Drew Holiday.
Yeah.
Around 19, where if you look at Shea Gilgeous, he's averaging 19 points per game, but then you've got Schroeder, Chris Paul, and Gallinari that are all averaging, 17 to 19 points.
And that's the thing, he's sharing minutes. Like, Brandon Ingram's playing all the minutes of that position. I think it was Solomon Hill, the backup small forward at the Pelicans. I think that is off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure if you look at what Shea Gilgeous does in his limited time on the court, sharing it with the other two guards, the other great guards they've got there, I think he does more for the team than Ingram does purely scoring.
Agreed. And I also think that if you look at his rebounding, for example, he's gone up. He's now putting up almost 6 rebounds per game, 6 defensive rebounds per game in comparison to 2 last season. So he's really, really improved on that game there.
Yeah. So what do you think about Pascal Siakam taking the most improved award? Just FYI for everybody, nobody in the history of the NBA has ever won the most improved player award twice in a row.
Sounds
Spicy
funny,
poo.
but you can't win the most improved award twice. You can't. If you're improving again on the most improved, you're MVP. That's like, how can you make that sort of leap? Because it has to be substantial change. There's no way you're going most improved to most improved because you already improved the season before. You would have to go from absolute garbage nobody to starting, and then from starting to MVP caliber, but you then get MVP. So you can't have most improved twice.
But all he's improved on is mostly his scoring. He's put up 17 points. He had 17 points on average per game in 2019 season. In 2020 season, he's put up 24 points. Everything else is pretty much the same, though.
Yeah.
Rebounds the same, assists the same, steals the same. So,
but the thing is, nobody expected the Raptors to be where they are.
No,
once they lost Kawhi.
But that's why I don't say it's most improved stats-wise. It's most improved in his leadership role. He has taken it and said, "This is Spicy P's team."
Yeah.
You know, I was the second man, the Robin to Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi's gone. He's like, I'm now Batman. Let's go. But the stats haven't changed that much. And their also win percentage is same. Yes, okay, you probably expected a drop-off, so he kept them consistent. But that's a veteran team, man. It's Kyle Lowry, the Serge Ibaka. Like, we can't talk more highly enough about his leadership, but I'm also like, they lost Kawhi, a great player, but they already had established veteran team who'd been together for a while around him.
Yeah, that's right. All right. And now we're going to go into the sixth man of the year. Who do you think? I feel like it's going to be a landslide on the award winner, but I feel like it could be very close as well.
Yeah, it could go one of two ways. I mean, for me, I think there's three people in the hunt. Two of them play on the same team. I've got Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell coming in a close second and third. But for me, and this again, as Choc said earlier, will bring a smile to your face, I have Dennis Schroeder as the sixth man of the year. He's got 19 points per game, 3.7 rebounds and 4.1 assists, shooting nearly 47% from the field overall and 38% from the three range, on top of the fact that OKC has gotten better than we thought they would be.
Yeah.
While sharing minutes, again, like we spoke about earlier, with Shai Gilgeous and CP3. I just look at Lou Williams and I'm like, you're not even the best sixth man on your own team. Montrezl Harrell is better than him currently, statistically.
Yeah, that's right. I think Schroeder, he had that role last year with Westbrook, and it never really clicks because Westbrook was very ball dominant.
Yeah.
You know, with SGA, CP3, and Schroeder,
he
they share the ball around. There's a lot of movement going on there. I think if I have to pick a clipper, I'm leaning towards Montrezl Harrell.
Yeah.
You know, he's played out of his skin this year, and he does things that don't show up on the stat sheet. You know, with the hustle and determination.
It's the way he fights for rebounds. Like, he's coming in, and Zubac coming to the bench, and he's coming in, and he's just running the rim, hustling for rebounds, trying to get the ball as much as possible for his team. And I think that's the sort of things that you and I discuss is what make a six man or a good guy off the bench.
Yeah,
energy. He's doing the dirty things that no one else wants to do.
well, here's the question now. Considering that Montrez and Lou Williams have both left the bubble, do you think that they will be able to return in time to be able to show up and put up their name for the sixth man of the year?
Yeah, like I think that they'll be back in time. I have no doubt they'll be back in time. But I think that at this point, they've got so many studs on the Clippers side that I'm like, the impact of Schroeder to OKC is larger than the impact of both Harrell and Lou Williams. Like, they got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. They'd be fine without them.
Yeah, that's right. And just to know, everybody, the awards are going based off before the bubble.
Yeah, till the last day of the March 11, I believe it was.
Yeah, that's right.
So obviously that makes an impact because anything that happens inside the bubble is not going to count.
Yeah, for sure. So I feel like Schroeder's going to take that one. But you never know with how these people vote.
Yeah, I mean the logic of it, but then also to give Lou Williams his fourth sixth man of the year, I believe, which would be, I think, the record. I think he's currently tied with Jamal Crawford with 3.
Yeah.
There could be an essence of, well, let's get him that record.
Let's break the record.
Let's break history here. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. As I said, I'm pulling for Schroeder, but I'm not going to be shocked if OKC again gets snubbed in all these awards because of that small market nature.
So if Lou Williams gets his fourth sixth man of the year, he will now have won it 3 years in a row: 2018, 2019, and 2020.
Yeah, which is very impressive.
Oh, it's very impressive. He's a great player, but I just don't think this year he has been.
He deserves it.
He deserves it, or that he is the best sixth man.
Do you think after 3 awards in a row that he now deserves a starting spot as now a starter?
No, he's still
the sixth man.
He is energy off the bench. You don't start that kind of guy. He's that guy that comes in when they've got their second unit on, and he can get a bucket on anyone.
Yeah.
He could start. There's no doubt about him being NBA quality starter. It's just he's better coming off the bench and still playing 27, 28 minutes and giving
like the injection.
Exactly, giving you injection when you pull your starters off. You need someone to replace your starters. That's why you have to have a solid bench.
That's right. And a good thing about, obviously, Lou Williams, he knows his role for the team.
Yeah.
And he embraces it. And that's and it's hard in 6 men. it's hard to find that at times because you choose someone as a sixth man, but then they just I want to start.
Well, most six men end up either leaving their organization or they're a rookie that's come in thinking, well, I want to be able to start, and you start.
Like James
them off
Harden
the
was
bench.
a six man
And
for
that's exactly
OKC
right.
at the start.
And he has the ability to continue to play at a high level, but he doesn't want to sit on the bench.
Yeah.
So I think that's the issue. Or the good thing about Lou Williams is that he knows his role, and that's what's made him a good six man. And the other thing as well is he's always been a six man. People have always played him in that role. He may have started a few games here or there, but he's always been the six man.
Yeah, that's right. Defensive player of the year.
This is a tough one. This is a really tough one.
AD.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I'm 100% about AD. I think with 2.7 blocks per game, which is second in the NBA behind Hassan Whiteside, and then 1.5 steals and 7.2 defensive rebounds per game. Not to mention they're first in the West. Like, that to me is enough to solidify him as the defensive player of the year. But everyone keeps saying Giannis.
Giannis. This is going to be very tough.
It's going to be close.
It's going to be really, really close because Giannis is capable of guarding every position.
But I think, in my opinion, I think AD can do it as well. Like, I think if you pull AD out and you start guarding, I'm not going to say he's going to guard the one all game, but if you pull him out of the pick and roll, he doesn't get made to look a fool.
Yeah, 100%.
He can handle himself. So I think, and not even that, I think it's the way in which he defends. I think it's the
Closing out,
the emphaticness. It's very rare you see him getting beaten on a play. And I think it's the consistency. I think Giannis is a fantastic defensive player, but I think AD is just playing better this year.
I think the big thing that will be the difference there is the defensive rebounds. You know, you've got AD putting up seven defensive rebounds per game, while Giannis is putting up almost 12 defensive rebounds a game.
Yeah, but you got to remember as well, Giannis is the rebounder on that team. You got an unathletic Brook Lopez and an Ersan Ilyasova. Like, neither of them are rebounders.
No.
6'11" Giannis is jumping over those blokes to get the rebound. AD is going to be one of 3 or 4 guys who are rebounding.
LeBron James and McGee,
That's it.
Howard.
Like, you've got so many guys rebounding for the Lakers. He doesn't need to do it, whereas Giannis has to get the rebounds.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
I think it'd be very close. You know, Giannis, he's had a great season, a great defensive season as well. He's actually averaged less blocks per game compared to last season.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see how that plays a part in the awards.
Yeah, and I think you maybe mentioned this to me earlier, is that he will be only the third player to win Defensive Player of the Year and MVP if he was to win those awards. I think the other two were Michael Jordan and Hakeem was the other one.
And that's like impressive company.
Impressive company. That is the company. Like, I don't want to say that he doesn't deserve it, but I think for the first time, AD is going to get it. But
yeah, because he's always been around, he's always been in the conversation.
He's always hanging around, but he just never quite actually gets it. But now that he's on the Lakers as well, is that big market mentality going to come into it? Is that going to push him over the top, or is it going to hurt him? Because that's the reason why I don't think he ever gets awards beforehand, is because he was in that small market team.
At the Pelicans.
Correct.
Yeah, and that may fall out of Giannis' favor as well, being at the Bucks. Like, would it be different if he was at big market teams like Toronto, Heat, Boston?
100%.
It's. That will be extremely close. I'm very keen to see how that goes.
I'm giving a slight edge to AD, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be upset whoever it goes to.
I woun't be upset. No.
Like, I can see the reason behind it going to Giannis. I can see the reason behind it going to AD.
I will be pissed if it goes to Hassan Whiteside.
There's no way. It's
after he played absolutely garbage for the Heat the last couple of years and got traded, if he gets it, I'll be pissed.
Rookie of the Year.
It's over. It's over. It's not even close. I don't even think we should have this conversation.
Ja Morant.
I'm done with this conversation.
Ja Morant.
It has to be Morant, hands down. Firstly, the man is averaging, I think, 17-4 and 7 in 59 games. Like, and on that, making Memphis an actual team to watch. Like, I've not wanted to watch Memphis play since the Tony Allen, Marc Gasol, Zach Randolph days. Like, that's the last time.
Mike Conley.
That's the last time I was interested in Memphis. He's now made me interested in Memphis.
Yeah.
From trying to bang it on Baines' head to actually being in the playoff hunt. I think Morant hands down. But I think the other thing for me is Zion hasn't played enough.
Yeah, he missed 43 games.
He's only played 19 games. Yes, he's been very impressive. 23, 7 and 2 in 19 games. But they also haven't won. They're 10 and 9 in that period, in the 19 games.
Yeah, I also don't think that you can't judge somebody based off 19 games. You need to give them the at least the majority of the season in order to be able to determine if they're Rookie of the Year potential.
Played less than half of the games Morant has.
Yeah, I can't see, because Because a lot of people go, it should go to Zion, and I can see where they're coming from. But you can't go based off 19 games. Yeah, he's been impressive and he's been exciting to watch.
I can't see where they're coming from. They're delusional. The man's played 20 games.
Yeah, but I think it's just a style of play.
Yeah, but it's not. To me, you can't play 20 games and be MVP. You can't play 20 games and be an all-star.
I agree.
Like, you're dreaming. The bloke's barely played. It's not his fault, obviously injury concerns, but I'm sitting there going, Morant has played all but, I think, 6 games before COVID hit. And they're in the playoffs. The Pelicans are 10-9 with Zion in 19 games. That's not enough to wow me.
Yeah, I think it definitely should go to Ja Morant, like 100%.
Yep.
There's no doubt about it. With second place, if it was to go 1, 2, and 3, I've actually got Ja Morant, and then I've got Kendrick Nunn.
The old man.
You know I'm a big fan of Nunn.
Kendrick Nunn, undrafted, 25 years old.
Big fan of Nunn. I mean, like, for me, seeing him flourish as a Heat fan, unbelievable. Because I don't mind Dragic, but Dragic is getting on in age. We need another guard, and Nunn just injects such energy and such. Like, he's not afraid to shoot. He'll just jack it. And he's shooting with some consistency. He's had a few like rookie moments, in my opinion, where he's done some things in close games where I was like, we didn't need that.
Yeah.
But again, going back to the reason that as you said earlier about him being second place, I think he's got to be second place because Zion hasn't played enough. Simple as that. I think Kendrick Nunn, having played, I want to say 50 plus games, puts him just ahead of Zion. But again, Zion hype. The man's the cover of 2K for next season. He's played 20 games.
I know they love him.
Big hype.
They're backing him.
Conspiracy theory: is this the reason why Pelicans have been given an invitation, really, to get a chance to put him in the playoffs, so you can see that 1v8 seed LeBron v Zion?
Didn't we talk about it last week though? Like that's the prime time, the main event. You know, the Tyson versus Holyfield. That's the big match that everyone wants to see. The big boys, Zion versus LeBron.
And that's what I feel for Memphis, because I'm sitting there going like, I feel like these guys have been a bit screwed by the way the playoff prediction or the playoff setup has been made.
I think the Pelicans getting invited isn't trying to get Zion in. The playoffs for the 8th spot.
Yeah, like
is trying to get Zion. Like 4 games. You're only playing 8 times in the bubble.
Well, that's it. You're playing 8 times, and if you come within 4 games, you get to go for a 2-game matchup. And I'm sitting there going like, why do they get a 2-game matchup?
Yeah.
So here's the question, right? Just before we move on, if you both had the choice of taking the Pelicans out and replacing them with another team to invite, who would you have invited to the bubble instead of the Pelicans?
Like, well, to me, I wouldn't have invited anyone. I would have left.
I would have finished the season.
I would have finished the season. Like, I don't think you need to invite anyone. I think it's clear cut that Memphis deserved to be there. I mean, like, Portland had a ton of injuries, and COVID has been, somewhat of a blessing in disguise for them, because they're going
to get healthy.
They're going to get Nurkic back. They're going to get Zach Collins back. I think Nurkic played for the first time in like 400 or 500 days in scrimmage the other day. So if anyone's really benefited from this period, it's been the Portland Trailblazers. Yeah. Everyone's talking about the Pelicans Memphis hype. Well, Portland's back to full strength. I see them sneak. For me, I think they're going to sneak in.
Yeah, I think. After you've had 50 games to prove yourself, 50 plus games.
Yeah. You've had 3 quarters of the season.
Yeah, and you haven't done that. I think like it should be unlucky you didn't make it this year.
And exactly right. Like, as you look at it in the East, and I'm sitting there going like, why are the Wizards there?
Yeah, that's it.
Like, they're just
MVP.
A lot of people are going to think you hate the Wizards, by the way.
I don't hate the Wizards. They're a terrible organization.
MVP.
Okay.
King.
I think we're gonna disagree here. I think it should be LeBron James. The man's 35, 17 years in the league. He has been either the best player or the second best player every single year since 2005, 2006. He has been snubbed 3 times for the MVP, I think, off the top of my head. 3 times that I can think of.
Because he should have won it back in 2005, 2006.
Yeah, 100%.
When Steve Nash won.
100%. So I was sitting there going, at 35 years of age, on his 3rd team, first in the West, and I'm going to quote, I believe LeBron said today something in regards to they said I couldn't do it. He was, LeBron can do things in the East, but if he ever came to the West, what can he do? I heard all of that.
Yeah.
So it's sitting on his mind. He has played not his best basketball, but I think his most important basketball this season for the Lakers. They went from out of the playoffs to now they're first in the West. Everyone was riding the Clippers bandwagon to demolish them this season.
Also leading the league in assists.
10.6, I believe, on top of my head.
That's
10.6.
Right.
Like, that's
right.
He's a small forward, power forward. I know everyone's like, oh, he's a point forward. But I'm like, the man is putting up 10.6 assists per game. And I think the argument against him for a lot of people is, oh, well, AD's leading every statistical category for the Lakers. And I'm sitting there going, who's passing him the ball?
Yeah.
Like, he's got to get the ball from somewhere. You know,
We all know it'd be completely different if LeBron James wasn't on that team.
Oh, 100%. I don't see them making the playoffs. It's literally just the Pelicans if you take away LeBron. He makes the difference there. And I think that Giannis has played out of his skin again for the second season in a row. But I want to see the argument that was used against LeBron for 10 plus years used against Giannis.
So you want to see Giannis do it in the Western Conference? Is that what you're saying?
Do it in the West. You're playing in the East. You're playing the Wizards 4 times a year.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I
What do you think? What do you think?
The thing that grinds my gears about the MVPs, it comes down to win-loss record.
Yeah.
So when Steve Nash won it in 2005, 2006, the Suns went 62-20. You know, and he averaged 19 points, 10 assists, 4 rebounds, which is not that impressive.
Yeah.
Like, it's for MVP. And then in that, you know, you had LeBron James going 31 points, 6.5 assists, 7 rebounds. But the Cavs went 42 and 40.
Yeah. And we both agree in this, and I think that you can't give an MVP to someone whose team's not doing well.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously getting minutes, he's getting opportunities that if you're in a team that's needing to win, that they don't otherwise get. So I think Giannis is probably going to sneak it simply because of the March 11 cutoff. But LeBron was coming, and he was coming hard for him.
Yeah, I feel it's really close. Like, it is really, really close.
But no one's saying it's close. Everyone with, like, from Bleacher Report, NBA, like, all the guys who have predictions are all saying Giannis. I think it's a lot closer than that. I think it's a disrespect to the 35-year-old guy getting it done.
It would be disrespectful if it goes to Giannis and LeBron's like, all right, I'm going to turn this on, let's go. And in the playoffs, he shows up.
If it goes to Giannis, like, unanimously or, like, with a ridiculous voting percentage, I'll be shocked or I'll be pissed because I'm sitting there going, like, Giannis started hot and he stayed very consistent, but LeBron had that, like, that meme where he had that Cavs face on where he's down 3-1. He had that hunger. He was coming. So that's it for me. Pretty much is the sense that I want LeBron to win it, both as a fan, but also the fact that I feel like he's been disrespected and missed out on what should have been his award multiple times. But Giannis has also played out of his skin.
Yeah, I mean, Giannis averaged 30 points per game and 14 rebounds per game.
While being
and
first
coming
in the
first
East.
in the East. And they're very impressive and the kind of the team to beat.
And if you take Giannis off the Bucks, similar to as we said earlier about the Lakers, do they even make the playoffs?
I think they'll make the playoffs in the East.
Oh, in the East they make the playoffs.
I think they're scrape 8th seed.
Yeah, that's it. They make the playoffs in the East, I should say that. But they're not as good as they are. So I think that might be the linchpin to get Giannis over the top. I want LeBron to win for heart's sake, but my head's telling me...
If Giannis played for the Celtics...
Oh, it's over.
You would be over.
100%. He's a big market team, first in the East. He's the MVP. It's publicity. They love it. Imagine they really want... and that's what the best part about LeBron moving to LA for people was. The face of the NBA, or one of the top players in the NBA, is in Showtime. You know, Showtime Lakers are back. So I think if Giannis is on a big market team, it's over. But
yeah, that
very close.
Very, very close. It might not end very close, but in our opinion, it's very close. Playoff predictions.
Ooh.
Here we go. Oh, where do we want to start? Where do we want to start?
Let's go with... We'll go 1 to 7 in the West. And then we'll finish on the 8th seed because I think the 8th seed's got a lot of spice to it.
Okay, well, like, I don't see the Clippers catching LA in the 1 seed.
Do you see the Clippers falling out of seconds?
Yes.
Well, it depends if people return to the bubble. Right now, they're missing Zubac, Landry Shamet, Lou Williams, and Pat Bev, and Montrezl Harrell.
Actually, just to correct you, Montrezl Harrell returned today.
Oh, Montrezl Harrell. So they're missing 4 players, including 2 starters and the 6th man, or their best bench player for scoring. So I'm sitting there going, when are they returning, firstly? How will they be when they return?
Yep.
And can they do it without them? With only, 8 games left in the regular season? They're not
going to get first.
No, they're definitely out of first place. It's just a matter of, as well, do they do load management? Is Paul George and Kawhi going to sit out a few games? They've done it all season. Are they going to take some breathers heading into the playoffs? Or, because you got to remember as well, do you want to face the Mavericks or do you want to face the Rockets?
I don't think it's any easy matchup.
No, the West is not an easy
Not
matchup.
from 2 down to 7, anyone could beat anybody.
I do think the Nuggets will.
Go second.
Yeah, I think they'll chase them down. Simply because the load management, I think. I don't think the Clippers are too fussed on where they seed as long as they're in the top 4.
Do you think they're going to be able to compete with the pressure, considering that they're missing a couple of their starters and the sixth man?
Yeah, like you're talking about Kawhi, man. The guy doesn't show any emotion. He's not phased.
Playoff Kawhi.
Yeah, playoff Kawhi's here. Like the bloke doesn't give it.
I was waiting for someone to
The
do
guy's not fussed, so I don't think there'd be any pressure. And I think with Doc Rivers at the helm as well, there's so much experience in that roster. If one of those guys wasn't to return, it's not going to end their season. It's just a matter of where are they and why are they not returning. I saw something earlier about apparently Jack Harlow, the What's Pappin' like songwriter.
Brand new whip just happened.
That's it. He had.
I got options.
He put an Insta story up of him partying with Lou Williams, and people are like, "Is that current?" And then Jack Harlow quickly came out on Twitter and said, "That's not a current thing. It's just that's an old photo." And I'm like, "Well, is it?" Question mark.
Is it though?
Has Lou left the bubble to party with What's Pappin'? So, but yeah, outside of that, I see the Thunder. I see the Thunder and the Rockets chasing down the Jazz quite easily.
You reckon?
Yeah, I don't. After everything that happened to cause the end of the NBA with Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell, I don't think they, one, have the firepower, and 2, have the chemistry to continue with the Thunder and Rockets right on their coattails. The interesting one for me, I think the Mavericks stay where they are. Luke is healthy, but in saying that, they're still, a game and a half behind the Rockets and the Thunder. I don't see them chasing down either of those two. Three of them might all jump the Jazz, but the big one for me is the Grizzlies. Are the Grizzlies going to get caught? And it seems like the NBA set up the schedule for them to be caught.
Yeah, mate, no doubt about it.
Yeah, like you've got to be within 4 games. So Trailblazers are within 3.5, Pelicans are within 3.5, and the Kings are within 3.5. Actually, that's a team I didn't even consider, the Kings. I don't think they have the firepower to get there, but De'Aaron Fox is balling.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on the Kings, like causing some problems.
They'll cause some upsets. I don't think they'll make the play. I'll be extremely surprised if they made the playoff for the 8th seed. But with Fox and Bagley,
they're a good young side on the rise. I just don't think they have enough to sneak in. No, but again, like I'm looking at it going, I find it hard to believe the Trailblazers won't be at least in that last 2-game matchup with.
Yeah. I see it being Memphis and Portland in the playoff.
Yeah, that little like 2-game matchup to see who goes home and who stays in the 8th seed.
So there need to be 4 games, behind the 8th seed to get the playoffs, and if the 8th seed wins once, then it's over.
Yeah.
If 9th seed wins once, then we've got another game, and then
that's it. So for me, the rundown goes Lakers, Nuggets, Clippers, Thunder, Rockets, Jazz, Mavericks, and then I think the Trailblazers get in.
Yeah, and then just quickly on Portland, Lillard numbers with Nurkic on the court, they've actually outscored teams by 10.8 points, as opposed to when Nurkic doesn't play on 1.9. Only the Bucks have a better percentage, and it's Bucks, have 11 plus. And nobody else is above 8.
And that's it. And I think Nurkic gives them something they didn't have. Like Hassan Whiteside's a great defensive player, but Nurkic has some like style down low. He can score, he can defend, he can rebound. So you got him, CJ, Dame, Zach Collins back, Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah.
Rodney Hood, I think, is their 3-man. That's a team.
Yeah, that's a team.
It's certainly better on paper than Memphis and
for sure,
and Pelicans for sure.
And then in the East, I've got Milwaukee, Toronto, Boston Heat, Pace. I've just got 76ers, Nets, and Magic.
Yeah, like I don't see much movement. The only thing I could see is obviously the Nets are going to drop to the 8th seed. There's no doubt about that. They've got literally no one that of note playing for them except Spencer Dinwiddie. Other than that, I see the 76ers jumping the Pacers, but I think it will otherwise pretty much stay the same. The 76ers look very good in their scrimmage. At one point, we're up 30 points on Memphis before putting in the backups.
Yeah.
The Magic, interesting to see what happens to the Magic. Like, I don't see them competing in the playoffs, but obviously interesting to watch. See if they have enough talent to jump the nets because they've got their full squad in
That's
there.
right. Who do you think has the most pressure on them to perform in the playoffs?
To me, it's again my pick for the defensive player of the year. It's Anthony Davis.
AD.
Like he's been in the playoffs twice in 15 and 18.
Yeah.
With a first and second round exit. So he hasn't got for an NBA veteran and a superstar. He hasn't got a lot of experience in the playoffs. He is the key linchpin to the Lakers' success and how far they go.
For sure.
If him and LeBron stay on the same sort of level that they've been on together, I think there's no way you're stopping the two of them from going all the way to the finals. For the first time in AD's career, he's got someone else that can do something for him. And I think that's the only concern I have is, will he stay healthy?
Yeah.
He's missed a lot of time over the years. Can he stay healthy? Can he be the push for them to make that run towards the finals? But that's who for me is, and another key point, he could be a free agent next year. He has a player option for next season, so
Yeah,
I
think he
assume
stays.
I assume he stays. But I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, if he has a big playoff series or bubble series, can there be a lot of money on the table for him?
Yeah. I'm actually, with my pick, I'm actually going to go, this might be a surprise, a lot of people. Chris Middleton.
Chris Middleton,
Chris Middleton, All-Star, two-time All-Star.
not an all-star without Giannis, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, I agree. Averaged 21.6 rebounds so far this season. Will he have an impact on the play? I feel like if he doesn't perform and the Bucks don't get to the finals, Giannis is going to look around going, I can't win with this team.
And that's it. And then he's going to go. And that's the biggest
it.
fear.
Or Giannis goes, or they trade Chris Middleton and get a duo.
And try and get another star.
And
Yeah,
try and get
they'll
a
do
duo.
it. They'll
Like
put a
we've got,
package
like
together.
LeBron, AD, Kawhi,
Exactly.
PG.
Because at the end of the day,
I feel like that's why the pressure's on Chris, because if he doesn't perform,
there's no real chance of you can't do it on your own.
you can't do it. Like
LeBron over the years has proved he couldn't do it on his own. I don't think Giannis can get it done on his own. There's been games where we've seen everyone's of their team just missing shots, and it's down to Giannis. He can't carry them to victory in the playoffs in 7-game series over and over again.
No.
Especially if they get to the finals or even in the conference finals against the Raptors, because the Raptors are a complete team. So I don't see Giannis on his own beating the Bucks.
So
beating the Raptors.
Baz, if Middleton doesn't perform, Giannis will then become a free agent in 2021. Do you think he will exercise his right do you think he'll ask for a trade, or do you think he'll go all the way through to free agency?
It's hard to say, because you need to. I think a lot will tell by the playoffs.
Yeah, if he
and
doesn't,
how they perform. If they don't make the finals, I think he's going to visit a lot of cities for free agency.
Yeah.
Or he's going to tell the front office, we need to make some moves.
yeah,
And
the
I think
rumors will start swirling.
Yeah, and Chris Middleton's going to be on that block.
He'll
That's it.
pull the old LeBron GM move.
Well, and I think the other thing is Chris Middleton is, in my opinion, just an average NBA player.
Yeah, I don't think this is why you don't hear a conversation around the duo of Giannis and Chris.
No, it's just Giannis. It's a
It's just
Giannis
Giannis.
show featuring the Bucks.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think the key for me is Middleton needs to average more than 20 a game.
Yeah.
Simple as that. But
That's right. So the pressure's on Chris.
pressure's on Chris. Pressure's on Chris. And look, pressure on AD as well. Let's not forget that AD is probably going to be LeBron's last chance to get a ring. So no pressure.
That's it. That's it for today. Thank you once again for tuning in. Thank you again to the boys, Rig and Choc.
Thank you.
Cheers, brother.
We'll be back next week with the return of the regular season. Make sure you follow the Free Agents podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and like and subscribe on YouTube.
We'll see you next week.
Laters.